Sure. Um, at some point, I want to get a. I lost the record player in the breakup.
Mhm.
And a bunch of my records.
Hey Omen, what are we listening to this week?
Today we were listening to "Someday the Sun Won't Shine for You." It's amazing to me how much that song takes me back to like being in high school. It's funny how just what a huge effect music has on your memory.
In terms of nostalgia, having listened to it a lot in high school?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it immediately takes me back to being like 17, 18 again,
I don't think I knew this album until college, to be honest. So,
or whenever.
did you have it at the same time? I don't know.
No idea. I
If you had had it in high school, I would have had it in high school. I mean, I don't think we had this one in high school.
but I just have it. Just that song, maybe because it's slower than My Sunday Feeling. It really, I think it got me the very first time I ever listened to it,
Mm,
and it gets me the same way, 15 years later now.
yeah.
It's crazy.
It's there's a lot of there's a lot in there. There's a lot of emotion in there.
Yeah.
Um and I think it's content wise, it's a lot more of that what you would expect from a blues song.
Hmm.
Like I'm leaving my baby kind of thing. While also complaining that she treats him like garbage. Uh and I like the kicker at the end, and I'll leave your mother too.
I know. I love it.
And your mother too. But this is like instant juxtaposition of sound
Totally.
from what it's again. I'm going to keep going back to that. This is our first album. You put it on and you hear our first song and we kick you in the face with it, and then instantly the next one it's like, but we can also do this.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out who plays the harmonica on that song.
That's Anderson. That's the mouth organ. That's what they
Oh,
refer to. Yeah.
because Britain.
Yeah, he swaps out the flute for the mouth organ.
He's very good on the mouth organ. I
He's
mean,
really good.
it's like professional.
Generally, I'm not terribly fond of the harmonica, but damn, this one it just if the flute were in here, I don't think it'd be the same by any stretch of the imagination.
And there's such a complicity between him and between the harmonica and the guitar.
Mm, yeah, yeah. There, it's almost a. I was going to say a call and answer, but it's not quite. I think it works more like how Anderson and Abrams sing
That's right.
when they start singing together, and it's not quite a harmony, but it's they're working together, and it's the same thing with the harmonica and the guitar, which is both Abrams and Anderson.
Yeah. It's like it's not even counterpoint either. It's two parallel tracks. It's two artists riffing off each other in a very with a lot of complicity.
I think of it kind of like someone in Alabama knows the song "Someday the Sun Won't Shine for You," and someone in Tennessee knows the song "Someday the Sun Won't Shine for You," and they get together and they sing it just a little different because everybody has a folk song that sounds just a little different depending on the region you're from.
Right. Right.
And that's what it feels like to me. They know the idea of the song, but when you get them together, it's not quite discordant,
No,
but it's also not harmonic.
it's interesting. Yeah. And I imagine that kind of artistic relationship is hard to maintain. That's probably why it didn't work out
Yeah.
for Mick and Ian Anderson.
And I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know who is who when they sing.
I don't either. I was really trying to figure that out. And it's very difficult to tell.
I think the higher one is Ian Anderson. I think.
That would make sense.
But that being said, on Move On Alone, when Abrams sings, he's pretty high too.
Yeah, and also he's singing some high notes.
Zing. I mean, it was 68, so who knows? Who knows what was in their system? I'll be honest, this album in general, for the most part, has been a background album for me. It's never one that I've really super absorbed and listened to, just because I got to it so late after having the later Tull kind of in my bloodstream.
That's more formative for both of us, I believe.
Right. But this song, for specifically sitting down and listening to it and really listening to the orchestration and looking at the lyrics and everything, this song it's really like there's so much there that's packed in there for a freshman album.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like was every freshman album back in 68 a lot more substantial than what we would expect now?
Well, it's hard to say, I think. I think the pressures were probably very different. I think that, this they recorded this album for £1,200, which, I'm sure was probably a lot of money back then, but it's not, it's certainly not what like Justin Bieber paid to record his first album. Not that he paid for it, but who knows, whatever. Who cares also?
Also, can I just note, who cares?
But I don't think that they necessarily had the pressure to be as financially successful with their work. I would assume. I mean, we're not experts on the music industry, but it is hard to imagine an album of this nature coming out now. I mean, I'm sure that the people are doing work like, that is eclectic like this on a lot of indie records.
Sure.
Yeah, it is fascinating, especially with the trajectory that Tull took. The other thing that is interesting, that I'm experiencing right now is you and I were introduced to this music when we were in our mid to late teens, and now we're coming back to it in our 30s,
early 30s, yeah,
early 30s, and
literally twice the amount of time.
And I think that my life experience is a lot different now than it was when I first heard this song, and so listening to it now, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a lot going on here that I didn't catch. I think
we're able to understand it more and appreciate it more.
Totally.
The music that I really, Tull and a few other things aside, the music that I really liked in high school, it is unpalatable now. But Tull is one of the few bands that has really stuck with me, because it was so formative and because it's so substantial that I can go back to it and appreciate it for nostalgia's sake, and then also for what it is.
Yeah, totally.
That old sun keeps on shining in, but someday it won't shine for you. In the morning I'll be leaving, I'll leave your mother too.
Hey, Omen.
Yeah, what's up?
Do you know the origin of the name Jethro Tull?
Yeah, of course I do.
What is it?
Why don't you tell me?
Well, Jethro Tull is the guy who invented the seed drill.
That's true. Yes, he was a 17th century agriculturalist, who was. I think he wrote some extremely important treatises on the modernization of agriculture, and of course, he invented the
seed drill.
But
also, when they were touring before they got really big.
Are you talking about the 17th century agriculturalists?
Yeah, that's my favorite band. This is talk 17th century agriculturists to me.
I made a terrible mistake.
I need to leave. When Tull was originally touring, when they were just starting out, they would rebook. They would change their name every time they booked in clubs, because if they bombed under one name, they wouldn't get booked again.
Yeah.
So they kept booking under different names until the show that they played as Jethro Tull was great.
Suddenly took off, and they got a lot of good reviews, and they were like, well, I guess we're stuck with this name.
We're stuck with Jethro Tull. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they booked under that name a couple of times, but there was some sort of miscommunication, and they actually played as Jethro Tull one concert.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to think that they could have been known as Luther Burbank.
Is that another 17th century agriculturist?
He was an 18th century agriculturalist.
Oh, okay. Ahead of his time, really.
Yeah. He developed the spineless cactus and the plum cot.
Hey, wow. Wow, another valuable contribution to agriculture.
Yep.
I thought you were looking up other Jethro Tull names, but you took it the other route, so I can applaud you for that.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, Omen, what did we just listen to?
That was Someday the Sun Won't Shine for You.
And we are Feckless Momes.
And this is Talk Tull to Me.
Come back next week when we talk about
Beggar's Farm.
Thanks again for listening to Talk Tull to Me, a Feckless Momes Audio Network production. Your hosts are Omen Sade and Nick McGill, produced by Nick McGill.